Coming to you live from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the A1 Trading Daily Show. Whether markets are rising or falling, we're here to keep you up to date with the latest market news. Join us as we trade currencies, commodities, and indices live, Monday through Friday.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. We are here for another day. It is Thursday. It is June 8th. I'm joined with the one and only Mr. James. How's it going, James? Welcome back for another show today.
Thank you. How you doing today, Nick?
I'm good. It's I had a little bit of coffee. I know you're running without coffee, so extra
Not yet.
to you for
Not
being
yet.
here.
I was running on 3 cups yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to lower it back down to 1 today.
Yeah, I can build up a tolerance pretty easily with coffee, that's for sure. What are we here for today, James? What's on the radar?
Today, we have unemployment claims happening here in about 12 minutes. We have forecasted 236,000. Last time we had unemployment claims, we had it, the forecast came out at, 232,000. So we will see what unemployment claims has in store for us today, depending on how high or how low it is off of that forecasted value. We could see a bit of a spike if it comes in around forecasted and is kind of what people are expecting. Maybe not so much, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yep, of course, the big question mark being whether or not we get more people filing for unemployment or on targets. And James, tell us why, just for a second, just to put you on the spot. Why does this number matter so much? Obviously it's a sign of the economy, but why do unemployment claims? Why should traders really be paying attention to this number today?
Well, it's going to affect the dollar. Just like any of these news events, it's going to cause dollar strength, and the dollar is a huge part of not only the U.S. economy but the global economy as well. Everyone around the world is watching the strength of the dollar to see what it's doing. And so when it comes to unemployment claims, people without jobs, that's going to be people who aren't bringing in money, people who aren't spending money, and that's going to have a big impact on the economy.
Yeah, it's certainly beyond just the economy here in the United States. You mentioned it. Of course, the global economy will watch. Speaking of global economies, James, one thing that has been kind of fun to watch, or I shouldn't say fun, kind of interesting to watch this week, is the central banks coming out with their monetary policy. So usually what happens is when it comes to central bank rates, like what we had for the Bank of Canada and the RBA, which is the Australian central bank, usually what happens is that the forecasts are straight on, meaning, people expect a certain rate hike. All the forecasts, all the numbers indicate likely what the rate hike will or rates will be, whether they're going to raise them, keep them, or cut them. Usually they're pretty spot on. Well, this week, James, we had 2 central banks back-to-back, big ones, Canada and Australia. Their projections, the forecasts were for them to hold, and we got rate hikes. So there's an interesting sort of thing that happened globally, as you mentioned. We're watching this number here today. Of course, it is impactful to the U.S., but it's also important globally. Yesterday, one thing that was really interesting is that following the Bank of Canada's decision to rate hike, we saw the metals market, which is quoted in US dollars. We talked about this on the podcast, the Market Pulse podcast yesterday. But even though it's quoted in dollars, the Bank of Canada news had a massive impact on the gold market. Why? Because again, central banks raising rates, especially unexpectedly like they did, cause a lot of fear about what other central banks may be doing. It's kind of like if all these central banks are raising rates and the Federal Reserve is seeing everybody else do it, it might be a little bit less out of the question that they could as well. Perhaps not in the upcoming June 14th meeting, but maybe in future ones to come. So kind of an interesting thing there. And of course, you know, I don't know, James, that most of the time, would you say from the time you've been covering this stuff, most of the time the forecasts are pretty right, right?
Yeah, I can't think of many times that something absolutely crazy happened. I mean, it's not uncommon for there to be, a 25-point swing one way or the other. Typically, it comes in a hike. It has come in a cut, maybe once or twice that I can remember, but typically very, very close to the forecasted rate. Usually, not much more than a slight a 25-point hike at the most.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So always when it comes to news, what you guys, and I hope you're catching on, we've got 8 minutes to go before we get unemployment claims. It's really important that when it comes to news, it's not necessarily, the news itself that will cause a spike. It's the how surprising is the news. If news comes out exactly as expected, it's not really usually going to move the markets very much outside of just sort of people rebalancing or offloading positions, that sort of thing. What's really going to make markets move big time is like what we saw with the Bank of Canada yesterday. A surprise yesterday is what launched gold off of the high point that it was at and threw it off the mountain that it fell all the way to the valley, right? That's the kind of stuff we have to have surprises in order to make big moves. So we're setting ourselves up here for, of course, unemployment claims, which come out in 7 minutes. James, the reporter, thank you as always for coming on the show and giving us the news.
Of course, thank you.
All right. Guys, round of applause for James. If you guys enjoy having James commentary, I really like having James come on the show because James, he's been a reporter with us. He's been doing content with A1 Trading for the last year or so, and he's learned a million things along the way. But I like having him on here because sometimes he's able to break things down in a way that a newer trader might understand a little bit better than myself, because I've been doing this for so long. Sometimes I'm just caught up in the jargon. I'm caught in on what I'm doing. It's nice to have James sometimes to break that down. If you guys enjoy James' commentary, do me a quick favor, type thanks James in the chat. It'll make his day as he gets his cup of coffee going. It is early for us here in the US. All right, let's take a look at some charts, guys. We're jumping into the markets. And yes, as I mentioned, we'll start at gold. We're already on the page or on the chart. Gold fell off a cliff yesterday, and I was proven wrong with my gold long idea. And man, the comments had a field day on me yesterday. But, like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and nasty comments when I'm wrong are nothing new. It's just one more drop in the bucket when it comes to trading. If you pay attention too closely to every single trade you're doing, you're missing the point. Trading is not about the next one trade. There's no make it or break it, a next trade kind of idea. That's more gambling. Trading is all about the long-term outcomes, right? You might have stretches where you're wrong about stuff. It's all about how things turn out in the end. Cool. Thank you guys for the support in the chat. Thanks, James, my guy, says USI World. Thanks for that. All right, so let's talk about where we're headed next. So, of course, we have unemployment claims, which are going to impact dollar crosses, including gold. And, something here could be interesting, of course, to pay attention to is any surprises that could perhaps break us underneath the lows. For gold buyers out there, for gold traders in general, this area, 1940, has been so impressively strong for bulls. Frank pointed out this yesterday. He was actually long after the hold of this area inside of our group. He's been trading gold as well. Of course, we've given back a lot of those gains, but still stubbornly holding this area. The report here has been really, really impressive. So for me, what am I looking for? I'm still bullish on gold, but I've got to see, something. I've got to see breakouts. And if we get something that kind of starts forming some new structure for me, absolutely going to drop it down to the 1 hour and look for opportunities. In fact, I may even need to do so, today. Here's the 1 hour chart. Again, we're holding support structure here very well in what longer term seems to be a really strong upward trend. So, we're coming into this news. I'd be interested. We're seeing a really strong reaction. I'd be interested to see if I could play the pullback here intraday. Of course, this is a 1 hour chart, so we're dropping it to a lower time frame than the 4 hour. But off the 4 hour, we have 4 hour support here, right? 4 hour major support came into this market. If it does dip back for us, there may be an opportunity, in my opinion, to possibly pick it up on the long side to continue what I started yesterday. I tried to catch a buy trade. It didn't work out. But now we're seeing some evidence that buyers are in this area, right? So I'm looking for pullbacks. We'll watch to see. Again, we've got just 3 minutes to go here before unemployment claims are filed. So we'll watch for reaction. But if price dips on gold, I'm interested in possibly trying to pick it up long again. So that's where I'm at. And that's what I'm looking for. New traders think that Nick can't be wrong and they place trade. I can be wrong. I can be wrong. Trust me, if you watch my channel for a while, if you rely on me thinking that I'm going to be right all the time, you will begin to hate me, because I'm not here. First of all, I'm not here for you to copy me. I'm not a, a fortune teller. If you want a fortune teller, go give it to go give your money to a scammer on the road somewhere. Like, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm a trader. Trading is not about knowing the future. Trading is about taking good, proper risk to reward. But there's a word in there that I want you to pay attention to: risk to reward. You always have to risk something, because there's never guarantees in the market. The Bank of Canada raising rates suddenly is not something that many people saw coming, myself included. Clearly why I got stopped out of my trade. So if you think I'm invincible, if you think any trader on social media is invincible, it's like believing in Santa Claus. Someday, the news comes out and you're like, oh gosh, it would be nice, would be nice. But trading is harder than that. Guys, we've got about a minute and a half here before the news gets going. I'm going to go ahead and set up my charts here. I like to watch a couple different charts at the same time. So I'm going to put up gold here in the top left. Again, we are watching unemployment claims. We're going to report the numbers, but do not go anywhere after the number comes out. That's where the trading really starts. And I've mentioned a trade that I'm interested in already. And we'll watch out to see if something sets up here for us following the news release. So hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the stream, by the way, guys. And I'm going to pull up a couple charts here while we get ready. Here's the S&P 500. We're going to put it in the bottom right for those of you guys who want to watch the indices reaction to this. S&P is going to be bottom right, dollar yen top right. Let's just go ahead and put the dollar index in the bottom left so we can keep an eye on that. Here it is. All right, guys, we've got our chart set up and we've got about 30 seconds to go on the news here. Again, we're watching unemployment claims this morning to see how many people are filing for unemployment. This is a huge number. It's very, very important. Now, again, the spike, we'll see if there is a spike. It very much depends whether or not the number is hotter than expected, cooler than expected, so on and so forth. But we will have the coverage for you, so don't go anywhere. Breaking news after this. All right, we're about 9 seconds to go here, guys. Let's see if we get anything. Again, we'll watch to see what that spike, if there is a spike, follow the report. All right. And dollar headed down, gold shooting up. Look at this. Gold making an initial move, testing just above 1950 here as we get going. What a pop. Very, very nice there. Initial movement to the upside. Dollar coming down. S&P, little mixed reaction. Dollar yen breaking down lower here this morning off of this news. And there goes gold trying to hold above that 1950 mark. We're just shy. There it goes. 1952 being printed here. And an impressive spike in the direction of the upside for gold, downside for dollar crosses. Probably good for those of you guys watching things like Euro USD. Let's pull it up on the chat or on the chart here, and we can see there goes the euro. Euro is up here today off of this reaction. Let's go have a look at the numbers and see why this market is moving the way it's moving. We'll head over to this page right here, and let's see if we can refresh the page. Employment claims came out higher than expected. We had more unemployment claims coming out, 261K in terms of unemployment claims. This is showing slight weakness in the jobs market. The forecast was 236,000 unemployment claims. We've now instead got 261. Now, what's the trade here, guys? What are we watching for? Well, let's go back to where I was just before this. I am looking to be long gold on a pullback. Yesterday, I got stopped out, but again, I'm stepping back up to the plate and I'm looking for my entry. Where are we at with gold? Four chart was where we started with this, and we had a really nice reaction off this zone yet again. This is like what is this? The third or fourth time? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth time. Buyers have just been so strong in this area. For those of you guys who are watching gold, this is a really impressive bounce. The question will, however, be, do we get some sort of reaction to this zone that we were, that we broke out of yesterday? My answer initially would be, yeah, I think we probably see some reaction there. And what do we do with that? Well, I'm looking to trade the pullback. So now that we've got the 4-hour chart in mind, let's drop down to the 1 hour and see if there's anything here for us. So again, a big pop here today. I'm looking now, I'm going to adjust my zone of interest. I am really interested in possibly picking up a pullback. If we get some, pullback off this level, we're coming up into what was a support zone, could turn resistance. But again, off the higher time frames, I am interested in longs. So I'm looking for a buy if we get it. Again, I know I might not get this trade. It might run away from me, but I've got to be patient. I've got to wait for pullbacks. I'm looking for longs on gold on a pullback to this zone here, right around 1948. Stop loss for me would probably go somewhere just below structure. And again, in terms of targets, I am looking to see if we can get back to where we left off, right? We had a really good pop to the upside here. Looking left, you can see an initial move higher. We then faded all the way back down with the Bank of Canada news. But again, I'm looking for a pullback. If we can get this, I will be looking to enter, whether it's on stream or after. Again, we'll watch to see how that plays out. But I'm looking for a pullback here on gold. That's a nice pop to the upside. I like the catalyst here today, and I'll watch this one closely to see if we can find a setup there. By the way, guys, if you're not already inside of our Discord channel, we have a Discord where I share all of the trades that I'm taking. Under swing trades, you can see whether I am long, short, what I'm trading, why I'm trading it. If you guys would like full breakdowns with every trade and the analysis shared, we're going to drop a link in the chat right now to where you can actually ask for, actually, let's do this. We'll drop the free Discord today. Let's drop the free Discord link, because I believe we don't have anybody in person ready on the support line today yet. But you can join our free Discord right now. Click this link in the chat. It will take you to the free Discord section where you can find out more information about the Discord itself. Click that link, just put in your email, and we'll send you over the link to the Discord. So there you go. We do that also, by the way. We do this where we collect your email and send it to your email, because we've had a lot of people who just take the link and they spam like bots into the server. So yeah, it's our filter. So yeah, we'll come back to that in a moment. If you guys, again, free Discord if you have not already joined it. Looking for a pullback on gold. If I can, great. If I can't, then I'll just miss the move, which, obviously would not be ideal, but it is what it is. I do like it long. I'm just looking for an appropriate entry. So off the 4-hour, like I said, we had a nice round off support held yet again. This is the 5th time that support held beautifully at 1940. Price is now rallying and breaking out here on the hourly chart. I've got it pulled up. I'm looking for that pullback. If I can get it, I'll look to join the move. I just don't want to chase here. I think the risk reward is a lot better if I can wait for a proper pullback. So that's where I'm at with gold. And that's kind of what I'm focused on here this morning. Real quick, guys, we're going to run a quick commercial break, and then after that I'm going to talk about more setups, and we're also going to bring in Frank, as well as Marco is on the scene as well. So we'll bring them in just a moment after this quick commercial break. Check it out.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans, if you're interested in getting free access to the EDGEFINDER or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, and we are back on the show. Thank you guys for joining us. What's up to Frank and Marco? We got a new trio going on. Is Miko? I think Miko's joining us at some point, but for now we've got the Frank and Marco. So what's up, guys?
Hey Marco, how's it going?
So, guys, we just had some news, and I just pulled up this chart. Dollar Swiss. Look at how much if we look at it a 1 hour chart, this is a crazy candle. You just had a massive drop off of unemployment claims, which of course comes out every week. But this especially, we had some really news, I suppose not necessarily exciting, but more people filing for unemployment than what was forecasted. And one about unemployment claims is that usually they're pretty, the forecasts are pretty spot on. 3 pip move to the downside in just this candle alone, which is a very large move for dollar Swiss, which is inherently a very low volatile currency pair. To contrast it with dollar yen hasn't even moved that much. We've had 39 pips to the downside, which is still a drop. But dollar Swiss so specifically has had a ginormous drop. Frank, what's your reaction to the numbers here this morning in terms of unemployment claims?
Right. So higher claims, that's good for us gold bulls, I would say. I'm still in my gold trade, just holding on to that. My stop's at 1934 something. But yeah, so higher claims, good for gold, bad for dollar. I wonder what the Fed Watch tool is saying now, but maybe we're going to see like a higher chance of, or a higher probability that they want to pause than hike this month. So
yeah, and it makes sense, right? Because now we're starting to see, coming up, we're running up into a June meeting where we're going to be discussing or making a decision as to whether or not to hike, hold, that sort of thing. That is June 14th, by the way, guys, that we will be, of course, live for that event. And to your point, right? Jobs numbers showing signs of cooling is exactly what the Fed is after. And so they may be less incentivized to rate hike in order to see that come into effect. We're starting to see it now. So it's an interesting move this morning. And again, you're still in your gold trade, Frank. You played me better than that because I am out. I got stopped out. So I'm looking for a pullback today personally on gold on the lower time frames. I'm trading more off the hourly charts. If I get a pullback, I may pull the trigger on it. Marco, what's your reaction to, of course, this? Charts are moving here. I know you're not necessarily on the fundamentals too heavily, but in terms of technical stuff, what are you watching today?
Yeah, so for me, everything is kind of flat, personally, on the 1 hour chart at least. I can quickly go over gold, see what's up with gold. So on the 1 hour, yeah, it's kind of choppy for me as well. Stuck in this rectangle, I would say. But again, the strategy I trade doesn't really work on gold because we have these ups and downs, which are pretty quick, pretty erratic, so tough for me to get in on the pullbacks. But for my 6 pairs, it's kind of just flat, also stuck in the rectangles. So I'm waiting for a breakout. Again, we have a little bit of today and maybe tomorrow for the price to move away from these structures. What I like the dollar pairs more than the Japanese ones, and I especially like the Aussie US dollar, for example, because it's kind of overall moving to the upside. So I'm looking for a buy, and Aussie Japanese yen also moving to the upside on a larger scale. Right now pausing a bit, but this can definitely continue with more momentum to the upside. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. A bit of a slower market for me on this 1 hour chart, but still some potential. There's always something moving. So the Aussies are on my watch list. What's your take on the Aussies? Do you like them?
The Australian dollar, it's been an impressive run up. I will say that the Australian dollar, quick fundamental breakdown. The RBA raised interest rates when it was expected to kind of hold. It's been a really, really strong driver. They also had some GDP news that came out. But overall, the Australian dollar looks really strong. And even if I was short biased on the Australian dollar, there's no sell I can take when the market's moving like this. You got a pretty clean higher lows, higher highs off the 4 hour chart. And yeah, it's a bit of it's a strong chart, I would say. Frank, do you have any thoughts on dollar against any currency pair? I mean, I think you were trading Euro Aussie at one point, right?
yeah, so I am in Euro Aussie and Pound Aussie. I got in after the rate hike decision because, well, one, it was a surprise, so the initial reaction was pretty steep to the upside. But overall, the pair's just in a longer term downtrend, and um, CPI is coming down. Um, they didn't sound too hawkish to me, so it kind of seemed like maybe the path of rate hikes was going to take a break for a while, similar to what people are thinking about the U.S. too. And so I think this move, it took us down to a significant trend line, kind of similar to gold, just a long-term level of support. So I thought, maybe it would be a decent attempt at this um, demand zone and try to catch a run back up to the upside. So
Yeah,
So
it's
you're in
been
a
a
long.
I'm sorry.
So Frank, you're in a long right here on this line, looking for a rejection,
Right.
or
I'm in a
oh,
long
okay.
trade, yeah. And if price breaks below, then I'll switch up my bias. But right now we're looking like a long term uptrend and then a steep downward move from just the sentiment going into this rate decision. So I think like the RBA is kind of less hawkish now. So and then we got ECB's decision next week. So I think we might be looking at demand in the euro going into next week.
So what's your target, or are you doing a trailed stop loss?
I'm just trailing it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
Marco, I want to ask you something about the dollar here today.
Yep. Sure.
Dollar, of course, really given back some of its gains here recently. I'm looking at the daily chart here, and you can't help but notice that, of course, the same trajectory that was happening for a few weeks now has slowed. My question to you, Marco, is do you see any signs here of possible weakness, perhaps even a downtrend forming on any dollar crosses or the DXY itself? Or is it too early to tell? Is it too range bound here? I mean, obviously, some conflicting data has come out, which has caused the dollar to lose sort of its upward steam. And again, we have a Fed meeting, so it's probably fair to also say that the market is kind of digesting stuff and waiting for the next big release. What is your thought on the US dollar, whether it's an index or any currency pairs that you think are most interesting outside of what we already went over with Aussie dollar?
So for me, well, let me take a look at DXY. Let's see if I can see something on the 1 hour. So yeah, basically, like you said, on a larger picture, we definitely had some strength going for a long time here from the 11th of May to, well, the around 26th. But now it's kind of pausing. It's fizzling out, especially right here on the top. This is what I look for, these breaks of the most recent highs and then rejections, like broke the high, rejected, broke the high again, rejected, all the way to the upside. So that's kind of an ascending channel for me, usually signaling either a larger range or a complete reversal. So I would not expect for this chart to continue going up. I would actually expect it to, as we can see, range and now reverse. But again, I would need to see evidence of it. For the other dollar pairs, so EU, it's just kind of flat. For me, it was definitely trending to a downside heavily for the past couple of weeks, but now it's kind of similar to the DXY. Pausing, not really showing me anything, just ranging around. Then the pound, for the pound, just flat. So just flat for me. Not really seeing anything on the pound. I'm looking for much more momentum on this particular pair. So my interest is sticking to the Aussies. I don't see much potential in the dollar pairs, and I think that reflects the DXY being more range bound.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, and I think when it comes to the dollar, like I mentioned, in terms of fundamentals, we're waiting for something to drop. Of course, that big drop is likely to be the June 14th meeting. Until then, Now, of course, things may change. Something might come out, something surprising to the market, but usually that's what drives trends is you have something that comes out and then fundamentals change, something shifts, and we see a strong push on the dollar. Frank, what do you think? Of course, Marco gave us some of the more technical side of things. What are your thoughts on the dollar as we come up to that June meeting?
Yeah, so I think what we've talked about before, I think the Fed is going to heavily consider pausing. Like, obviously, we don't know for sure, but I'm kind of on that train of taking a break in the rate hikes and seeing, what the data says from there. We have a pretty aggressively high interest rate. CPI has been coming down over time too, so I think maybe the odds are really good for the probability of seeing a pause. So I'm kind of dollar bearish. I don't really. I think it completed a move a while ago, and now it's just kind of range bound as usual. But um, yeah, I honestly think lower levels for the dollar. Um, but obviously, the Fed could surprise us. The BOC and what was the other one? The RBA surprised us this week with the rate hike, but they're also dealing with sky high inflation, and CAD also saw an increase. So I think we're in a better position economically and monetarily. So I can see a rate pause here.
Well, and Frank, and I think we're going to finally, you're going to have your moment in the sun here. I've got the central bank forecasts pulled up for you. And if we could switch over to my screen, this is your moment because you were the one who helped us to build this. You just mentioned likelihood of inflation cooling. Walk us through what we're looking at here. I've got the US dollar selected. We're looking at short-term interest rate forecasts. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so these are short-term interest rates and not the federal funds rate because they'll show different numbers, but short-term interest rates and funds rates move the exact same way. Um, they're like a direct correlation with each other. Um, so we have short-term interest rates for all these currencies, but we're looking at the USD right now. So what it does is it takes the past year or so and projects the next 4 quarters of data. So what we're looking at is Q2 of 2023. We're sitting around 5. We're probably going to see higher rates going forward if we stick to where we're at. And what it's projected now is over time we'll see a decrease by late 2024 when the federal funds rate is sort of reaching their decline and starting to cut in interest rates. So what it does is it moves along with the federal funds rate activity. So it's not like you're not going to see the exact same number, but you're going to see the same direction in which it moves, and it is more sensitive than longer term. So we'll see probably more accurate levels of interest rates going forward. So higher rates where we're at, we'll stick to that, and then we'll see inflation coming down. If you scroll down some, the USD is forecasted over time. Yeah, the red dots are the forecasts. So yeah, just a different visual on what how you can interpret it.
And Frank, to add to your thought there too, one thing that's really important when we're talking about this stuff is especially if you're talking currency pairs, right? So this is like a longer term projection of the dollar. You've got, rates expected to fall. That's the quick way of reading this. Rates are at some point expected to fall. But let's look at the counterparts. Look at the euro. There's a difference here that's very, very important. Yes, inflation is expected to gradually come down as well, but there are no on the horizon so far forecasts for the ECB to cut. So the difference there is very, very night and day. We have The Fed is sort of expected to cut at some point, and the ECB has no expectations to cut. And so this understanding, especially if you're going to be a currency trader or if you're going to trade things like gold, knowing what that Federal Reserve plan or the ECB's plan, broadly speaking, is really important. Take a look also at the Bank of England, expected to hold rates for quite a while, eventually expected to come down. Inflation is expected to decline across the most of the major central banks. But it's a really interesting study to pay attention to the forecasts that are shown here. So, of course, Marco, I'm sorry to deep dive on the fundamentals for a moment.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
This is one of our newer features that we worked really hard on, and Frank kind of took the lead on. So a really, really cool new feature to the EDGEFINDER. We'll have more details about this coming out. For those of you guys who are already EDGEFINDER users, we'll have some information. And by the way, if you guys would like to get access to the EDGEFINDER, remember we do have our summer sale going on right now. It is ending tomorrow. So if you have not already taken advantage of the summer sale, if you want access to our software, it's a one-time fee. This is what it looks like. You can see all the stuff we've got here. You get access to the EDGEFINDER Pro as well as our MetaTrader and for robots and indicators for free with your purchase. Right now, the savings are over $840 before we raise the price back up. So do not miss out. We've got a message us link in the chat right now. If you click this link, you'll be able to direct message one of our support reps here who can help you out to get access to the products if that's something you're interested in. So Marco, we talked a lot about a couple different currencies. We haven't really spent too much time talking about the yen. Where are we at with the yen today? Do you have any ideas or things that you're watching on the yen side of things?
So yeah, let me quickly see. So I'm trading EJ, AJ, and NJ. But for me, I was seeing some potential on EJ with these ascending and descending channels, but nothing seemed to really go through. So right now it's looking more flat to me. I'm just kind of seeing these descending going into an ascending. So just signaling to me a larger range. Yep. Right here, and we did have
Marco. Just to cut you off for just a second, sorry about that, Frank. If you don't mind, we're going to let Miko, and he is in the back. I didn't see him there. Frank, thank you for your moment in the sun, sharing your new feature on the EDGEFINDER, and we'll catch you back on the next live stream, man. Thanks.
Goodbye.
And we'll bring in Miko behind him. What's up, Miko? Sorry to keep you waiting. I can't see you on the software because there's so many people in here. So good to have you back on the show. And
no worries.
Marco, sorry to interrupt you. We're talking yen pairs, Miko. I'll come to you next if you have anything for us. But Marco, continue.
Sure. So seeing some momentum, but again, not the kind of momentum I really want to see to take some trades. So EJ, I'm more patient. AJ has potential for me, but I need to see it clear this area. As you can see, prior price action was definitely trending heavily to the upside on this 1 hour chart. But on the top, it's kind of slowing down. So that's giving me a bit of a warning sign. So I'd want to wait for a large impulse up or a large impulse down. Now, so this one is on my watch list, but NJ is also interesting, as in it had a definite strong drop to the downside. And now it's kind of in this sideways flat range. But what I like about it is that it's not really large like this. It's more flat and the moves are small. So it looks like something is cooking up on NJ. And I would wait for, of course, evidence of a large impulse up or a large impulse down. But when I see this sort of tight price action, it means probably it's some sort of a consolidation and probably there will be a nice move up or a nice move down. So this one is also on my watch list. I like the Japanese pairs, but I mostly like Aussies, such as Aussie US dollar and Aussie JPY. And I do have one question for you guys. So how have you found volatility on Forex in this first half of the year? Because what I found is in 2022, there was a bit more volatility, a bit more opportunity, especially throughout the year. So I'm wondering if that's the same experience with you guys.
Miko, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, to be fair. I would agree. I mean, I think in terms of the numbers, I think I have taken less trades this time this year as in last year. So I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. To be fair, I don't really notice things like that. To be fair, it's a
Mhm.
bit of minute detail, but looking back, I probably would have had taken more trades by this time last year. So I would agree with that. To be fair, there's maybe not as much big moves and real momentum as we've seen maybe in the last year or so. But again, we did have Russia Ukraine as well, which caused a lot of
Yep.
fireworks at the time, and we had some other big news as well. So I think fundamentally there was a lot going on. There still is, but I think that might have caused a bit more trades for us last year.
Yep,
I
definitely.
think
It's very interesting to me. Yeah.
Marco, to answer your question too, just from you know, I think you're spot on, because if you take a look at what I've got pulled up, this is the VIX, which I'm sure you guys are familiar or have heard about the VIX before. This is just, of course, a measurement of volatility, and you can actually see that in 2020 we kicked things off with just major volatility. Things got busy again with a lot of central bank stuff, as well as of course, as you mentioned, the Russia-Ukraine situation, but volatility has shrunk a lot following the 2020. By the way, I mean, you guys will remember a lot of people joined the Forex trading community during this time because they thought, hey, I'm working from home and this is a way I can make a quick buck. And a lot of those people left that market, shortly after, when they were so abruptly learned that they, can't make quick, easy money. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned that today, Marco, it's interesting you make that point. We are literally trading at a several month low on the fix today, showing volatility across, the board has been very, very low. And if you're trend traders, which I know we all kind of are, it makes it tougher to find, trade setups that trade really well. So for me personally, 2021 was my best percentage year ever. 2020 and 2021 were both, really, really good years for me, where 2022 was tougher. So yeah, good question though, Marco, and I think probably helpful to the audience as well, just to hear that. Miko, we've heard a little bit about from Marco and myself. What are you trading? What are you looking at today? What's caught your eye?
Yeah, there's a few pairs I'm looking at, but at the top of my watch list is dollar Swiss, especially off the back of the momentum we've just seen here with some dollar weakness, prices falling right now quite aggressively. Still is. So yeah, dollar Swiss. I'm looking at some shorts for this one. I've had my eye on this one since last week. Hasn't really developed the way I wanted it to. But the reason I'm looking for shorts, high time frames, you've got this bearish kind of channel here heading to the downside. I'm looking to see if we could be forming the next major lower high in this trend. So as we can see, we had a lower high here. Second one there, I'm looking to see if possibly this week we could be forming a third one in this area. Obviously broken support, turn resistance, really strong area. So we are looking good in this level. So I'm just looking on the full H for price to start breaking some structure to the downside. So earlier I was looking to see if we can break through this support level, and it looks like we might be looking to break through. I mean, this 4H candle is just closed here. It's only cleared it by a few pips, so it's technically a break, but nothing that I will look for break and retest of just yet. I want price to probably push away a little bit further than that, and then I'll start eyeing out some retest to catch the next lower high, because it looks like this bullish trend has kind of met its match, and we could be looking to roll over and continue with that high time frame narrative there. So yeah, dollar Swiss is at the top of the list as well. I'm also looking at CAD CHF for some buys slightly lower down. We got potentially a reverse. I'm not sure if it's going to be a big high time frame reversal for CAD CHF, because everything is still pretty bearish with CAD CHF, but we have seen some nice bullish momentum over the past few days as well. We cracked through some highs as well, so I'm looking to see if we can get a pull back into some areas of confidence here, possibly even onto this high as well. And I'll see what we can get around this area for some longs. Keep an eye on EURUSD. So I do like EURUSD out of the Aussie pairs, which Marco was mentioning earlier. Really nice move to the downside here for a lot of momentum. So hopefully I can get a pullback sooner or later with this one. A couple of areas I'm looking at onto this broken support and this broken support as well. And I'll keep an eye out for some lower highs. Got some really nice structure here. High there, lower high, so you can catch the third one for moves to the downside. So those are the pairs at the top of the watch list, but I really do like dollar Swiss after we've seen some momentum. So hoping we can continue a little bit more and yeah, catch some shorts.
I like that dollar Swiss chart. Again, as you mentioned, just been really a clean uptrend for a while, and now showing some nice signs of reversal. Even on your chart that you've got pulled up, you had a couple lower highs here forming before the big drop today. It's taken out what seems to be a pretty strong level of support. So I like that idea. And also your Euro Aussie trade. I think Frank, just before you were on, Miko, he was going over a short idea as well. So it's interesting to see we're kind of finding similar trades. When there's enough of us that are all kind of trend followers, we tend to fall upon, similar trades. Although I would say your dollar Swiss trade is, it's not necessarily counter trend, but it's definitely not just pure trend. So it's kind of interesting. Talk me through that a little bit. When you look to take a trade, are you looking for, breaks for possible new trends often, or are you looking mostly for just pullback trend continuations? Talk me through your concept there with dollar Swiss.
Yeah, so that's a good question because I like following trends, but I don't like taking trends too close to the end. So there's two perspectives you can look at it. Like if the market's trending up, I'm just going to keep buying until it fails. Or you could look at it when it just twitches. So say, for example, you've got a bearish trend here and it's gone on for a while and then it starts changing bullish. So this for me is the best time to get into my trades. When the 4H has gone bearish and then it starts switching bullish, then we start getting the first, 2, 3, 4 higher lows. These are normally the best times for me to get into the trade. So when the market has gone on bullish and we've seen like 5, 6, 7, 8 higher lows, I've had a lot less success buying these dips than when it's further down. So even though the market's still trending, I take much less of these trades and more of these trades. So with dollar Swiss, we've had this bullish trend here and it's starting to exhaust. We've seen a bunch of high lows, but normally when you get like the 7th, 8th, 9th, the market normally looks to reverse. Sometimes you get price where it just keeps continuing. But for me, I like it when we're just getting that reversal and then the next few lower highs. So for example, for dollar Swiss, we had a nice trend here. The market is still technically bullish for me because it hasn't really broken through this low here yet. But if we can start pushing way through that, then I'll be looking for the retest of the structure. And as we can see, we had 1, 2, 3. So getting on the 4th lower high, that's not too bad for me. And a nice break and retest some structure. Similar to EURUD as well. This one's had a really nice bullish trend. It's gone on for a while. Now we just recently had the reversal. So now my eyes are lighting up for some sells as well to catch the next lower high. But if the trend starts continuing a long way, then I tend to back away and wait for the reversal again. But yeah, with dollar Swiss, I like it. It's obviously had a bullish trend, but I'm waiting for that to reverse, which looks like it's going to be happening soon. And then, yeah, retest some structure, catch the next lower high for some sells.
Yeah, good stuff. And as always, Miko, always good to hear your thoughts as well as Marco's. I want to say to both of you guys, thank you as always for coming on the show. And to everybody who's in the audience, we got 400 people. You guys would make all of our days if you made sure to go subscribe to both Miko and Marco. This is all free game to you guys on the YouTube channels. If you guys are in the YouTube space and you're learning to trade, you don't have to pay anything. But I would encourage you to go find people like Miko, Marco, and hopefully myself as well. Subscribe to this free content. It's free game for you. We're dropping the links right now to check out Miko's channel as well as Marco's channel. You guys see him on the show all the time. You guys are amazing contributors to the A1 Trading Show, and that's why we keep having you come back on. So, and hopefully a lot of people are finding you and finding your content helpful as well. So Miko, Marco, thank you guys both for coming on the show today.
No problem.
All right. And yeah, they're again, regular contributors on the A1 Trading Show. It's always good to have. We find these guests that come on consistently to be incredibly helpful to the show. A lot of you guys learn to really, the thing is, you guys watch my shows, and for a long time, I did them solo. For a long time, I just went by myself on the live stream, and I would go through my charts, and that would be it. What I think, and we've seen that people really love the new style. Let me know in the chat, do you guys like the new style? Do you like the collaborative atmosphere that I bring on guests and allow other voices, other opinions to weigh in on the charts that I'm looking at? If that's something you like, type yes in the chat really quick. It helps us on the side. After these live streams end, there's a lot of brainstorming sessions that go on to make these shows possible. We are really trying to put on the best show on the internet for traders who are serious about this stuff and want to learn for free. So if you like the new style, type yes in the chat. Let us know that you enjoy it. And, the producers behind the scenes will read your comments and be happy to see it. So, because again, I'm not doing this alone. And I've got some great help that make these shows possible. Community is the idea. Exactly. Lighten, that is exactly the right concept we're going after. We're trying to build more of a community-based live stream show each and every day here on the A1 Trading Show. So good stuff. And always big shout out to Miko and Marco for coming on today. Guys, I don't have this. This is a little bit deceiving. I don't have a gold trade on. This is actually a trade setup that I'm looking out for. Again, we've seen gold be very volatile recently. If price does make its way back into a retracement area, I am looking to get long. If I take that trade, I'll share it inside of the Discord channel. So I'm keeping an eye on this one on gold. I'm looking for pullbacks. I'm looking for an opportunity to play that one on the long side if we're able to get that pullback. But I'm not going to chase anything, and I'm going to try and stay patient on this one. Another one I'm looking at is NASDAQ. NASDAQ, I also do not have a long trade open on, but I'm looking for any pullbacks intraday. So again, look at the 4-hour. I like this chart to the upside. We've seen institutional interest be relatively high on the NAS. I'm looking for NAS pullbacks on the hourly chart. So any sort of retest as the market gets open, and what I mean by open is here in the U.S. we see the stock exchange market, the stock brokerage world open up at 9:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern for live trading. Of course, there's pre-market trading, but volume really picks up around 9:30, which is about 22 minutes away. I'll be looking for moves back, a pullback intraday to get long NAS. It is one of the trade setups I've been watching out for. So, and I feel like we've got a nice pullback here to play into off of the 4-hour chart. If I take that trade, you guys will see it inside of the Discord channel. And yes, someone asked where they can find Marco. His link is right here. Please go support his channel. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to introduce you guys to more quality traders that you can learn from for free. So there you go. So yeah, uptrend on the NAS. I like this chart. If it can pull back into it intraday, I'll be looking for an opportunity to join the move. That's something that I'm watching out for. You guys will see it in the Discord channel. If you're not already in there, make sure to do so. Make sure to join. If you're not in the free Discord, we got the free Discord. We'll drop in the chat right now. If you're not in the free one, join it today. It takes 2 seconds. And if you'd like to sign up for the VIP version, you can also do that by heading over to our website, a1trading.com. With that said, also, guys, last thing I will say is we showed you guys the new central bank forecast tool. We are so excited about this tool. We've been working really hard on this. This tool will show you inflation and interest rate projections for major central banks around the world. For example, we could pull up Japan, we could pull up the US, and we could see generally projections for where they think central bank interest rates, or in this case, the Fed funds rate, will go. This also reflects the inflation data that we have. This shows us not just now, but into the future where things are likely or expected to go. If you guys don't have our access already to the EDGEFINDER, you get access to our smart money tracker, our retail sentiment page. All of the data that we use to take our trades can be found within the A1 EDGEFINDER. And if you don't have access to it, right now we are doing our summer sale, and I don't want you guys to miss it. If you've been thinking about it, we have one more day after this to get access to the EDGEFINDER. It gets you access to all of the features: the smart money tracker, the watch list, the retail sentiment tab. All of our MT4 and indicators come with it free for a limited time. This is, again, we're going to be saving, if you choose to get access, it's a savings of over $840. And the price will be increasing next week. So we only have a limited number of slots left, and it is on a first come, first serve basis. So if you have interest in that right now, click the link that's been dropped in the chat right here. Send us a direct message. It is there for you. Click that link. Here's what you do. So just click that link. It's going to show up like this. It's going to open up a window where you can have a conversation with one of our team reps. Click chat now and click tell me about the summer sale offer. And we'll give you all the information to work with you to get access to the tool and training so that you can begin using it to help you in your personal trading. We've seen a lot of people go a long way with the EDGEFINDER, and we're excited to get more copies out there to more people interested. Thanks, guys, for tuning into the live stream. If you enjoyed today's show, hit the thumbs up button on the way out, and we'll see you back next time. As an aspiring trader, how do you take into account all of the driving forces in the markets at once? You need the EDGEFINDER. The EDGEFINDER allows traders to access powerful market data automatically. Access key sentiment analysis studies, such as the Smart Money Tracker, which shows what hedge funds and institutions are buying and selling. Or unlock the Retail Sentiment Indicator, which shows where retail traders are positioned now. Additionally, for traders looking to incorporate fundamental analysis into their trading, get access to our in-depth economic data scanners to find the strongest trends. The EDGEFINDER also ranks and scores all of your favorite currency pairs, commodities, and indices through our signals and watch list page. This page will show you the EDGEFINDER's current strongest buys and strongest sells by pulling together all of the data. Get our biggest discount of the summer. Get access to the EDGEFINDER, our MT4 and MT5 softwares, indicators, and robots, all in a single 20% off discount offer. Take advantage using the links and promo codes down below in the description.